We're here in Imperial Rome on the bridge in front of Castel Sant'Angelo, which was actually built by the Emperor Hadrian as a mausoleum for his remains. It was built a year after his demise. It was built in the year 139. Hadrian passed away in the year 138 of the Common Era. He lived from the year 76, only 6 years after the Khurban, until the year 138. About 50 years after the Khurban, Hadrian becomes emperor, about in the year 118. And at first he wanted to have a certain openness to the Jewish community, and therefore he actually issued a decree that the Jewish people could return and rebuild the temple in the Beis Hamikdash. But the early Christians challenged this. They said to Hadrian, the Jews are just going to aspire for autonomy, independence, and they're not going to pay you any taxes. And Hadrian said, what am I supposed to do? What should I do? I already gave word that they could rebuild the third temple. So the early Christians suggested, tell them they could rebuild the temple, only they'll have to move it 5 cubits away from its original location. And that is in fact what Hadrian did, and the Jewish people disbanded on their own the notion of rebuilding Beis Hamikdash because it has to be built in that specific spot. Now Hadrian had this built starting in the year 135. It finished 1 year after his death in the year 139. So it's very significant that we're here during the 3 weeks during the Bein HaMetzarim, because although Hadrian's ashes were originally interred here, but ultimately they were scattered by intruders in the Middle Ages. So on the one hand, while this represents Hadrian's prominence and his power, but what's very interesting is that after Hadrian suppressed the Bar Kokhba revolt, when he appointed the general Severus, the end of his life was quite marred in sadness. He had a frustrated marriage, an unhappy life, and ultimately even his ashes were scattered from here by intruders during the Middle Ages, while the Jewish people today are stronger than ever, and we continue to flourish, which gives testimony to the prophecy of the great Nevi'ah Yisrael, Netzach Yisrael Lo Yishakeh.